If you manage salespeople, give them the tools that they need to be successful.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the KTS Success Factor podcast for women, where we talk about challenges senior female leaders face in being happy and successful at work. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah E. Brown. My guest today is Wendy Weiss. She is known as the Queen of Cold Calling. She's an author, speaker, sales trainer, and sales coach, and is recognized as one of the leading authorities on lead generation, cold calling, and new business development. Clients typically experience 3 times the number of qualified appointments they can schedule, with a corresponding increase in sales revenue and a shortening of the sales cycle. Clients include Avon Products, ADP, Sprint, and thousands of entrepreneurs throughout the world. Wendy has been featured in the New York Times, Business Week, Entrepreneur Magazine, Selling Power, Inc., Forbes, and various other business and sales publications. She is the author of Cold Calling for Women, Opening Doors and Closing Sales, and The Sales Winner's Handbook, Essential Scripts and Strategies to Skyrocket Sales Performance. Welcome, Wendy. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for inviting me to be here today, Sid.
As you know, I primarily pitch these podcasts to women who are in business. So what is the biggest challenge you're helping female leaders face in business today, and what might be the symptoms of that problem?
Okay. And I think this is such an interesting question because if you'd asked me this a few weeks ago, I might have given you a different answer, but I have been thinking about this recently in terms of some of the clients that I've been working with. And one of the biggest challenges that I see for women sales professionals, the actual salespeople or the women that manage salespeople, is how often they get in their own way. And I'll give you a very concrete example. I was working with a client yesterday, and because we teach prospecting, part of the skill set is learning to handle a gatekeeper, an executive assistant, to get the information that you need to be able to reach the person that you want to have a conversation with. And she was so nervous, and she was just getting herself all worked up. What if they're rude to me? And what if they hang up on me? And what if this happens? And what if that happens? She hasn't even done this yet. She's a beginner. She's just starting out. She has yet to encounter a single gatekeeper. Mm-hmm. And yet she had this whole thing built up in her head about all of the terrible things that were going to happen if she picked up the phone to try and reach a prospect. And what I said to her was, well, first of all, if you encounter someone that's rude, that's really on them. It's not on you. And let's making an assumption here. You've done your homework. You're reaching out to prospects that you believe you can help because you've done your homework. Then you have every right to reach out to prospects. You're in business. That's what you do in business. You connect with people and have conversations about how you might be able to help them.
I get that. And I can tell you, I have been guilty of that what if phenomenon myself. So I probably know the answer to this question already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What are the biggest mistakes your clients make before working with you?
Well, the biggest mistake across the board, whether you're a salesperson or you manage salespeople, is believing the myth of the born salesperson. That the myth goes that there are these people out there, they're just born knowing what to do and what to say. That's a myth. Nobody is born with this skill set. It's not intuitive. I was really lucky. My first career was I danced in a ballet company, and I got into this field by accident because in between my dance jobs, I needed a day job. And I got a job with a telemarketing agency that did business development. And I was really lucky. They taught me this skill set. Learning this skill set enabled me to build a business. And so one of the biggest mistakes that I see over and over again are either salespeople that make a handful of calls that don't turn out the way they hoped, and they go, oh, this won't work for me, or sales managers that hire brand new salespeople, do not give them the skills training that they need to be successful. They say, let's see how they're going to do. And often they don't do very well. This is not an intuitive skill set. It is a learned skill set. Someone might be born with a lot of talent, let's say a lot of athletic talent. That doesn't mean they're going to the Olympics. Somebody might have a lot of talent for sales. That does not mean they're going to be successful.
I get it. That's great advice. So what is the number one free and actionable tip you can give the women who are listening today to help them address this challenge now?
The number one tip that I have is, once you understand that this is not an intuitive skill set, that it is a learned skill set, then it's entirely possible to go out and learn the skill. If you are a brand new salesperson, there are resources. Google cold calling, Google prospecting. Come to our website, coldcallingresults.com. But even if you hate everything that I'm saying today, that's okay. There are other resources available to you. And if you manage salespeople, give them the tools that they need to be successful.
Okay. So what's a valuable free resource you can share with our audience today to help them understand this challenge better?
We have a double whammy gift for everyone. The Cold Calling Survival Guide, and the subtitle of that guide is Start Setting Appointments in the Next 24 Hours. And if you are a salesperson, you can download it and just follow the steps. If you manage salespeople, you can give it to your salespeople and have them follow the steps that are in the guide. And then the other part of the gift is a business owner's guide to scheduling more qualified appointments when their prospects are all freaking out. And so that is a guide that was written for the circumstances that we still live in today. And it's actionable tips for generating new business today when you still can't, depending on where you are, you can't just walk into a place of business and have a conversation.
Wow, that's great. And I will put the URL for that in the show notes. So thank you so much for that. So Wendy, what is one question that I should have asked you that will help our audience take action to address this whole challenge of sales? And then would you please answer the question?
Sure. Well, I think given where we started about women getting in their own way, the question is, how do you start to shift that mindset? And the answer, if you take a look at it, there are the facts, and then there are the stories that you tell yourself about the facts. Now, the facts are, if you're the salesperson or if you manage salespeople, somebody's going to dial the phone. The salesperson dials the phone. They're either going to reach the person they want to talk to, or they're not going to reach the person that they want to talk to. If they reach the person they want to talk to, they are going to say something. That prospect is going to say something. And that's pretty much it. Those are the facts.
Okay, right.
The story is, and these men tell themselves different stories, but these are the stories that I hear from women. I'm bothering them. I'm interrupting them. They're not going to be interested. They don't want to talk to me. How do you know these things? You haven't even tried yet. And if you manage salespeople, what are the stories that you are telling yourself that you then convey to your salespeople? For example, so many managers tell me that they tell their people that prospecting is a necessary evil. Well, if you've just hired someone brand new, and maybe they don't have any call reluctance, maybe they're not afraid, and then you tell them it's a necessary evil, or some of my colleagues say prospecting sucks, get over it. So you've hired that new person that doesn't have any call reluctance, and You say to them, prospecting sucks, get over it. They now have call reluctance because you just told them how bad it is. So what are the stories you're telling yourself about what your salespeople are doing? And what are they actually doing? What are the facts about what they're doing? Because the bottom line here, prospecting is a business process by which you acquire new clients. It is one of the many ways that one can acquire new clients is you pick up the telephone and you introduce yourself. And that is all it is. And so looking at it in a very, concrete way, if you're coaching your salespeople, I always ask my clients, well, what did the prospect actually say? And I'll give you a concrete example. Mine I was working with yesterday. She said to me that she did call somebody, she got them on the phone, they weren't interested. I said, okay, what did they say? Well, they just weren't interested. Okay, what did they actually say to you? Well, it turns out what they actually said was, I can't talk right now. Please call me next Tuesday. So she made up a story about what that prospect was thinking when they actually said, call me next Tuesday. They wanted to talk to her.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So because all we have are the words that our prospects say to us. Mm-hmm. You can't read their minds. Don't even try it. But what do they say?
Great advice about getting around the stories we tell ourselves. Wendy, thank you so much for being with me today.
My pleasure, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for listening to the KTS Success Factor podcast for women. If you like what you are hearing, please go to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave a review. And if you would like more information on how we can help women in your organization to thrive, then go to www.sarahebrown.com. You can sign up for our newsletter, read show notes, and learn more about our podcast guests, read my blog, browse through the books, or contact us for a chat. Goodbye for now.